The Sigma male, an archetype that has captured the imagination of millions, seeking to understand the silent power that certain men command without conventional status or validation. While alpha males dominate through obvious authority and betas, through social compliance, the Sigma operates outside this hierarchy entirely, creating his own path through life with quiet confidence. Today, we're diving deep into the subtle behaviors that define the Sigma male. Actions they perform instinctively, but that everyone around them notices. These unconscious habits reveal why Sigmas command respect without demanding it and achieve success on their own terms. Before we explore these powerful Sigma traits, I invite you to subscribe to Official Sigma Male. Our channel is dedicated to unveiling the psychological framework behind genuine male excellence, not through outdated domination tactics, but through strategic independence and authentic personal development. Subscribe now to join a community of men who understand that true power comes from within, not from external validation. Strategic solitude. The first unmistakable trait of Sigma males is their comfortable relationship with solitude. Unlike others who frantically fill their schedules to avoid being alone, Sigmas deliberately create space for themselves without explanation or apology. Watch a Sigma at a social gathering. While others cluster together, he moves comfortably between conversation and independent observation. He might suddenly disappear for a walk alone, not from social anxiety, but to process his thoughts and recharge. This isn't rudeness, it's strategic energy management. Sigmas instinctively understand that solitude is where clarity emerges. They don't announce their need for space. They simply take it when necessary. Their phones often remain unchecked for hours while they're immersed in projects or thoughts, not because they're ignoring others, but because they've unconsciously prioritized their internal world over constant external stimulation. This comfortable relationship with solitude makes Sigmas particularly effective during crises. While others panic seeking consensus, the Sigma has already processed the situation independently and arrives at solutions others miss. His ability to step back mentally provides perspective that groupthink eliminates. What's remarkable is how Sigmas create this space without explanation. They don't announce, "I need alone time." They simply establish boundaries through action. When they reappear, they don't apologize for their absence or feel compelled to explain where they've been. This confidence in their need for solitude naturally commands respect from others. Emotional discipline. Perhaps nothing distinguishes the Sigma male more clearly than his exceptional emotional discipline. While he experiences the full spectrum of human emotion, he unconsciously filters how and when these emotions are expressed. In moments where others might explode with anger, the Sigma male processes the emotion internally before responding. This isn't emotional suppression, but strategic regulation. Watch carefully in heated situations. While others raise their voices or become defensive, the Sigma's voice often grows quieter, his responses more measured. This emotional discipline extends to positive emotions as well. Sigmas rarely engage in excessive celebration or attention-seeking behavior after successes. They acknowledge achievements with quiet satisfaction rather than demanding recognition. Their happiness doesn't depend on others noticing their accomplishments. What makes this quality so powerful is its consistency. Sigmas maintain this emotional equilibrium across environments. They don't switch temperaments based on who's watching. This creates an unconscious trust from others who sense the Sigma's authenticity and reliability. The Sigma's emotional discipline manifests physically as well. Notice how they maintain composed body language even under pressure, minimal fidgeting, steady eye contact, and controlled breathing patterns. These subtle cues signal to others that the Sigma remains in command of himself, regardless of circumstances. This isn't to say Sigmas are emotionless, quite the opposite. They experience deep emotional connections, but express them with intention, rather than impulsivity. A Sigma's emotional attachment, once formed, runs deeper precisely because it's deliberately chosen rather than reactively formed. Calculated confidence. Sigma males display a distinct form of confidence that differs markedly from the overt displays of alphas. Their confidence is quiet, unwavering, and notably unconcerned with external validation. Watch how a Sigma enters a room. Unlike attention seekers who announce their presence loudly, the Sigma simply arrives, comfortable in his skin without needing to establish dominance. He doesn't position himself as the center of attention, yet people gradually gravitate toward him, sensing his self-contained certainty. This calculated confidence appears in speech patterns as well. Sigmas naturally avoid qualifiers and hedging language. They don't say, "I think maybe we could try." They simply state, "Here's what works." They speak with measured pace and comfortable pauses, never rushing to fill silence out of insecurity. What's fascinating is how Sigmas unconsciously avoid approval-seeking behaviors. They don't check reactions after making statements, don't laugh at their own jokes to ease tension, and don't soften disagreements with excessive diplomacy. They express their perspective clearly and allow others the space to agree or disagree, without attempting to manage their reactions. Perhaps most telling is the Sigma's response to criticism. While others become defensive or people-please, the Sigma evaluates feedback objectively, adopts what's useful, and discards what isn't, without emotional attachment to being right. This selective processing of external input demonstrates their internal validation system. This confidence extends to physical space. Sigmas maintain comfortable personal boundaries without apology. They don't compress themselves to make room for others unnecessarily, and they naturally adopt relaxed, open postures that signal security rather than dominance displays. Deliberate decision-making. A hallmark of the Sigma male is his methodical, independent decision-making process that operates outside social pressure and conventional wisdom. While others make choices based on social acceptance or immediate gratification, the Sigma unconsciously evaluates decisions against his personal values system. Observe how Sigmas handle group decisions, while others quickly align with popular consensus. The Sigma takes time to process, often asking clarifying questions that cut through groupthink. They're comfortable being the lone dissenting voice when their analysis differs from the majority. This deliberate approach extends to life's major decisions as well. Sigmas rarely follow conventional timelines for career advancement, relationships, or lifestyle choices. They unconsciously reject societal pressure about when to marry, what career defines success, or how to display status. What's particularly noteworthy is the Sigma's comfort with delayed gratification. They instinctively evaluate long-term consequences over immediate rewards. This manifests in everything from financial decisions, investing rather than displaying wealth, to relationship choices, valuing substantive connection over immediate attraction. The Sigma's decision-making reveals itself through selective commitment. They naturally say no to opportunities that others eagerly pursue when those opportunities don't align with their values. This selectivity applies to relationships, professional projects, and social engagements alike. Perhaps most telling is how Sigmas handle uncertainty. Rather than making impulsive decisions to escape the discomfort of ambiguity, they're comfortable existing in uncertain states until sufficient information emerges. This patience in decision-making often leads to unconventional but highly effective choices others miss through hasty judgment. Silent leadership. One of the most powerful Sigma traits is their capacity for leadership without formal authority. While traditional leaders rely on titles and explicit power, Sigmas lead through example and quiet competence that others naturally follow. Watch group dynamics carefully. You'll notice how Sigmas unconsciously become the decision makers in critical moments without appointment. During crises or uncertainty, eyes turn to the Sigma, not because he's demanded attention, but because his composure and clarity stand out among anxiety and confusion. This silent leadership manifests through action rather than words. Sigmas don't announce what should be done. They simply begin doing what's necessary. This initiative creates a gravitational pull where others naturally align with their direction. What's fascinating is how Sigmas unconsciously dismiss unnecessary hierarchies. They treat everyone with the same measured respect, regardless of status. This consistent respect across power differentials signals authentic confidence that commands reciprocal respect. The Sigma's leadership appears in how they handle others' mistakes as well. Rather than public correction or blame assignment, they address issues privately and directly. This discretion builds deep loyalty as others sense they can trust the Sigma with their vulnerabilities. Perhaps most powerfully, Sigmas practice attribution redistribution. They naturally redirect credit to team members while absorbing blame themselves. This isn't calculated manipulation, but an unconscious value system that prioritizes results over recognition. This leadership style creates unique team dynamics. Groups led by Sigmas often display higher autonomy, creativity, and resilience, precisely because the Sigma creates space for others' competence rather than demanding compliance with his authority. Relentless self-improvement. A defining characteristic of Sigma males is their unconscious commitment to continuous self-development independent of external recognition or validation. While others pursue improvement for status or visibility, the Sigma's growth is internally driven and often invisible to casual observers. Notice how Sigmas allocate their resources: time, attention, and money. They unconsciously invest in skills and knowledge that compound over time, rather than status symbols with immediate payoff. Their bookshelves reveal depth in specific domains rather than trendy, surface-level consumption. This self-improvement manifests in their relationship with expertise. Sigmas naturally pursue mastery rather than adequacy. They don't stop at functional competence, but continue refining skills long after they've surpassed basic proficiency. This pursuit isn't for external validation, but personal satisfaction in excellence. What's particularly telling is how Sigmas handle knowledge gaps. Rather than pretending expertise or deflecting with humor, they openly acknowledge what they don't know without insecurity. This intellectual honesty accelerates their learning curve, as it eliminates the energy wasted maintaining false appearances. The Sigma's self-improvement extends beyond professional skills to personal development. They instinctively examine their own reactions, beliefs, and emotional patterns with the same analytical approach they apply to external problems. This self-awareness creates continuous evolution. Others find both mysterious and compelling. Perhaps most significantly, Sigmas implement improvement systems rather than relying on motivation. They create unconscious habits that ensure progress regardless of emotional state or external circumstances. This systematic approach to growth ensures continuous advancement while others cycle through enthusiasm and abandonment. Subtle boundary enforcement. The final signature trait of Sigma males is their effortless establishment and maintenance of personal boundaries without explicit confrontation or explanation. While others either allow boundary violations or enforce limits through conflict, Sigmas create invisible perimeters that others naturally respect. Observe how Sigmas respond to inappropriate requests or impositions. rather than direct refusal, which creates conflict, or reluctant acceptance, which creates resentment. They simply redirect or reframe the interaction. This subtle recalibration happens so smoothly that others often don't recognize the boundary was enforced. This boundary maintenance appears in conversation as well. Sigmas unconsciously control information flow, sharing selectively rather than engaging in trauma dumping or excessive self-disclosure. They maintain privacy not from insecurity, but from understanding that intimacy is earned through trust rather than freely dispensed. What's fascinating is how Sigmas handle time boundaries. They naturally exit conversations, meetings, or events when they've served their purpose without elaborate explanations or social anxiety about others' reactions. This time, sovereignty signals to others that the Sigma values his purpose above social obligation. The Sigma's boundary enforcement extends to emotional limits as well. They unconsciously refuse to absorb others' emotional chaos or take responsibility for problems they didn't create. This emotional distinction creates healthy relationships where connection exists without codependence. Perhaps most importantly, Sigmas enforce boundaries with consistency rather than intensity. They don't allow repeated small violations followed by explosive enforcement. Their boundaries remain steady across relationships and environments, creating predictable parameters that others unconsciously learn to respect. Concluso. These 7 unconscious behaviors: strategic solitude, emotional discipline, calculated confidence, deliberate decision-making, silent leadership, relentless self-improvement, and subtle boundary enforcement, form the foundation of the Sigma male archetype. What makes these traits so powerful is precisely their unconscious nature. They emerge naturally from a core of self-determination rather than performative displays for external validation. As you've seen, the Sigma's power doesn't come from dominance over others, but mastery of himself. This self-governance creates a gravitational pull that others respond to without coercion. The Sigma leads through example rather than authority, influences through competence rather than manipulation. If you've recognized these traits in yourself or aspire to develop them, subscribe to Official Sigma Male now. Our channel provides the frameworks, psychological insights, and practical strategies to cultivate these powerful Sigma qualities intentionally rather than accidentally. Join a community of men committed to authentic personal sovereignty and discover how to transform unconscious Sigma behaviors into conscious principles that elevate every aspect of your life. Remember, the Sigma path isn't about performing for others' attention, but developing internal character that commands genuine respect. Subscribe now to begin that journey of transformation.